It's wild, it's twisted. Headlines hitting like a slap and you missed it. It's madness, I'm tapped out, live on the scene and I can't find my way out.
And welcome back to another episode of the Convoluted Podcast. It's your host, Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, and I'm here with Liz.
Hey.
And I want to welcome you guys back. It's been a while. I'm glad to return. If you caught up with our last episode, we've been gone for a bit, but we're kind of getting back into the groove of things. We are, for the most part, getting everything situated, getting our life situated, but we're trying to get back into that routine. But before that, how has the week been for you, Liz?
Yeah, well, I have a lot to tell you, but I'm going to keep it minimalistic. It's been a week. I'll tell you offline. I forgot to tell you this, I guess.
All right, keep it minimalistic then.
Yeah,
what do you care to share?
But it's been beautiful here. It's been getting warmer. Cold mornings for sure. It's been beautiful. It was like 32 degrees one morning. We were like getting out in the car and it was frosty. We were like, I guess we're sitting here for a couple more minutes.
True. Yeah, so it's been a mixed bag for us in the Pacific Northwest. I know some people might say like, why are you guys complaining? But it's a little rough for us depending on how our situation is. Like the mornings definitely are chilly, and then when I want to take an afternoon nap with my niece, my room gets boiling for some reason, and I'm like, ooh, from freezing to boiling, I do not like that. I think that's why I kind of have a...
And then we go in right back into cold from freezing.
Yeah. I think that's why I have a slight cough, so I do apologize if you guys hear me coughing a little bit. I don't know, it's just like this chest. I've been coughing for the last 2 days.
It's allergies. My eyes are bothering me. My nasal passages. Yeah. Everything's starting to bloom. And then it's going to get killed out by a frost. We'll have, a second and third try of spring, fall soon.
So I do apologize if you guys hear me cough. I'll do my best to cough off screen. But yeah, it's just a little bit of it's a bit annoying the last few days for myself. But yeah, for me, just like I said, getting back into the routine of things, little things, trying to get ready for any of our listeners. We are slowly getting back to working on our other podcast, our little horror podcast on the side. That one's going to take a little bit of work, but I think we'll be ready in the next couple of weeks. So look forward to those episodes coming out in the near future once we get those recorded and are scheduled and recorded. But we are excited. We all like a good horror story, even if it's not Halloween. We enjoy a good scare. So, and me and Chris, our other co-host of You Shouldn't. Oh my God, what was the name of the show? You weren't supposed to find this. You weren't supposed to find this.
You weren't supposed to find this.
We are excited to share some of our old internet stories for Liz who have missed out in that era of horror stories. Some cringy, some good, some bad, but we hope to share it with you guys and share it with Liz and get her first impressions from there. But yeah, look forward to that. That's coming along. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Anything else you want to talk about, Liz? It's kind of been it's busy but not so, but we're, like I said, we're trying to get back into a routine here. So
yeah, until I throw in my vacations and up he will it again.
Exactly. So we got a lot to get into tonight. So, and these stories aren't exactly the kind actually that we love digging into. They're weird on the surface, messier underneath, and a whole lot more layered than they first appear. So before we jump in, make sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, follow and share on Spotify or wherever podcast platform you're listening on. And if you've been enjoying the show so far, word of mouth really goes a long way.
It's one of the most recognizable openings in movie history. A chant, a sunrise, a flood of nostalgia, and now somehow it's also the center of a 27 million lawsuit. The story begins with a song millions of people know instantly, even if they don't know the words. The opening chant from Circle of Life in Lion King has lived for decades as a piece of pop culture, music, theater, and an African musical identity all at once. But in March of 2026, that chant became the subject of a legal fight after Grammy winning South African composer and performer. I'm going to mutilate this. I apologize, you guys. Libo M, or Meraki sued Zimbabwean and learn more. I'm not going to be able to pronounce the last name. I apologize, guys. There's no way. Who performs as Lermore Janassi,
Okay.
claiming Janassi's viral joke with the chant meaning crossed the line from comedy into reputational harm. At the center of the case is one specific moment. On the podcast 154, the host began singing the famous opening chant incorrectly. Janassi corrected them, saying, "Essentially, do not mess up their language like that." Then he sang the chant properly in Zulu. When asked what it meant, he answered the now viral joke, "Look, there's a lion. Oh my God." The host laughed, and the bit took offline. I think it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Have you heard the clip?
Comedy.
Have you heard the clip?
No, I have not heard the clip.
Let me see if I can pull it up for everyone to hear.
Are you doing that? I'll finish up.
Yeah, finish up.
Libo M says that he not just joke landing badly. In his lawsuit, he argues that Janassi intentionally misrepresented the meaning of the chant and mocked its cultural significance. According to the complaint, the opening phrase, I don't know. Sorry, guys. I only listened to it a million times and I still don't know how to pronunciate it. It's officially translated to Disney as "All hail the king, we all bow in the presence of the king." The next line, according to Moray, continues the royal and ceremonial meaning, "Through we will emerge victorious." In other words, Meraki's position is that there's not just a lyric about spotting an animal, it's praise poetry, it's ceremonial, it's rooted in South African tradition, and he says Janassi's version flattened that into a punchline. That is the core dispute, and we're slowing down. We're here because there is this where the legal cultural questions split apart. Culturally, the argument is about meaning, respect, and whether a globally famous African chant was reduced into a shallow gag for viral laughs. Legally, this is a civil lawsuit, not a criminal case. No one has been charged with a crime. No arrest, no criminal trial, and no verdict. There is one person suing another for money, alleging harm to reputation and business. Specifically, Meraki says Janassi's comments interfered with his relationships with Disney and hurt his royalty income. He's seeking more than $20 million in actual damages and an additional $7 million in punitive damages.
Damn.
Crazy. And the lawsuit goes even further. It argues that Janassi did not represent the transition an obvious parody or satire, but as an authoritative fact. The matters become because comedy and parody often receive strong First Amendment protection in the United States. Meraki's legal team is trying to draw a distinction. They say this is not just an artistic commentary or a joke about a work of art, but knowingly false representation that chant means. Janassi, on the other hand, says it's comedy, and comedy is supposed to provoke, exaggerate, and start conversations.
Interesting. Okay, so this is kind of what we were talking about last week a little bit with the cops and Afro Man a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I sent you the link. I'll play the audio for everyone. It starts at about 27 seconds. So if everyone wants to, if you want to hear kind of the joke originally. So here's for everyone.
I don't have it. You didn't give it to me, so I don't know where you put it.
It's in
Topics.
Oh, I did not put it in top. My apologies.
Yes.
All right, I'll let the audience hear this.
Flashback. You were way off. All right. You said, Papa, you made up. Well,
Yo,
you should see me when I
you
do it in
was
front of
talk-
white people. Oh my God! Why you look? Oh my God!
Hold on. Can you do that? Do that one more time. Do that again.
What does it mean? It means, look, there's a lion. Oh my God!
You're joking. That is not what that means. That is not what that means.
That's exactly what it means.
That's what it
means. Look, there's a lion. Oh my God! It's a lion.
There's a lion. Oh my God.
It's a lion.
Okay, well, Liz finishes listening to that. That is that is wild. So that was the initial clip that kind of went viral. I saw it a couple weeks ago. I found it funny, but it seems like it escalated a lot. To the point there's a lawsuit. And a big lawsuit. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If someone would ask me to try to sing the intro to the Lion King opening, I think none of us would correctly sing it right, Liz? You are muted. You muted yourself.
I was trying to be respectful, so we haven't have a double version.
Yeah. But anyway,
My bad, y'all.
Anyways.
My bad.
yeah. So what are your thoughts? What you thought of the initial clip first?
I thought it was funny that he got served right on in the
Oh yeah.
on
stage.
That's hilarious.
Okay, but the
That's
original
hilarious.
clip, the flashback.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah,
What are your
but the flashback? I was like, he was being ultimately serious, and you know, and the other guys were just like, oh, I thought it was really beautiful, and it's not really. But I mean, you can interpret anything, right? It's every language has its interpretations. We all mutilate it. It's not like anything comes transcribes perfectly. You know, the Bible's been transcribed 400 different ways because it's an interpretation of language, right?
I think I have a better example because this is an interpretation of language itself. Like different words in different languages have different meanings sometimes, and the way sentences are like constructed when you're talking can mean different things, or even the way things are said can mean different. Because recently these last few days I've been watching a YouTube series called Tip to Tip, where two guys are traveling from the southern point of China all the way to the northern part of China, and they've only got a brief. They're not fluent in Chinese. They only have a brief knowledge, and their goal is to motorcycle like that with no map, no translators, no just the bare minimum of Chinese they learned and their instincts.
Is it Mandarin? Oh well, it's different languages.
There's different dialect. There's different dialects of Chinese. Mandarin is one of the most notable ones. But definitely, as I've been watching this series, they learn like any language. When you're trying to learn it, you learn some of the more common phrases that you would use. You know, when you're learning, let's just take Spanish. You learn how to use the restrooms, how to order, things like that. Just kind of hello, goodbyes, and then if you're traveling, like how to ask for a hotel, directions, left, right, and stuff like that. One of the funniest things of the Tip to Tip series I've been watching is when they're just trying to find a hotel. When they're trying to talk to locals, because remember they have no way to translate anything because it's all their best interpretation. Them just trying to say the word hotel comes out as almost 7 different words, and they're trying to say the exact same thing. And it's all about how words are spoken, right? And when it comes, if you were to try to figure out what the words in the Lion King song is in Zulu, like I can understand it's a before we continue reading the article, one, in my opinion, it's a joke. It was, I took it as a joke. It seemed like, okay, that was funny. Like I said, like I said, I've started looking into it, and it escalated because the original composer says that the official translation is "All hail the king, we bow in the presence of the king," which is a very nice phrase. If that's how, that's the official translation to the original wording, that's like, that sounds lovely, right? But then bringing it down to look, there's a lion. Oh my god, like that's
I
yeah.
think it's funny. It's funny. I mean, he was just making a joke. I mean, we all make jokes. Like, oh, this is how I interpret it. This is funny. Blah blah blah. I mean, we do it all the time with each other. Oh, this sounds like funny. Oh wait, it could be turned this way and sounds really funny.
Okay, so let's continue with the article. I'll read the next part. So the story got bigger because it did not stay inside the lawsuit filing. It spilled onto social media and then onto the comedy stage. After the dispute began circulating online, Jonasi, I think that's how it's pronounced, name. Jonasi posted publicly about it. He said he was a fan of Lebo M's work and he loved the song. I think most people love the Lion King song. Like, you can't. He also said that once he realized Moroke was upset, he wanted to collaborate on a video that would explain the chant deeper meaning to the public. In his telling, oh, apologies there. That was the upside of the whole mess. The joke was created attention, to your attention, and the attention could become education. But as he put it, comedy has a way of starting conversation, and this was an opportunity to teach people something they did not know before. But the back and forth did not calm down. Apparently, Genosi later said he changed his mind. Genosi changed his mind about the collaboration after a private and public exchanges with Moroke became more personal intense. The Los Angeles Times also reported that Lebo posted a stern public warning saying Genosi could not keep disrespecting other people's culture and then call it a comedy. And then came the moment that turned into what from internet drama into a made from the mic headline. Genosi was served with legal papers while performing on stage at the Laugh Factory in Los Angeles. He later posted about it online, saying he had been sued for $27 million and served mid-performance. Video from the moment circulated widely known. Genosi leaned into the absurdity, joking that he was now paying for the Lion King bit. Actually, I can play that audio for everyone. That was the first half of this. I'll let it play for a bit.
Was less fortunate. What is this? What is this?
Service.
Oh shit! I just got served. Oh shit! Oh my god! You just. For those who are wondering what this is for, I did a joke about the Lion King. I don't know, you saw it? That was me, yeah. There's a lion.
Flashback.
Nah.
Okay, so here you guys go. That's that little clip just from his comedy thing. That moment matters because it changed the public's feel of the story. Up to this point, it was a fight over translation, culture, satire, and meaning. That's kind of what it sounds like, right? But once the comedian got served on stage, it also became a spectacle. Audience members reportedly thought it was a part of the act. Then launched a GoFundMe to help. I didn't know that either. Okay. A GoFundMe to help pay legal fees. Sold merch riffing on the lines. Okay, that's kind of funny. Turned the lawsuit itself into part of the comedy narrative. You gotta do. By Friday afternoon, according to Los Angeles Times, the fundraiser had raised more than $17,000. This is where the public reaction got complicated. Some people saw the lawsuit as a serious stand against the casual distortion of African language and traditionals for laughs. Others saw it as a wildly excessive and massive legal hammer dropped on comedy over what is plainly part of a bit. That tension is really what made the story travel. To one side, this was a culture disrespect dressed up as humor. To the other, it was about a celebrity artist trying to punish a comedian for a joke that went viral. The split is visible across coverage, even when the story do not always state it outright. What are your thoughts here, Liz?
Sometimes we all joke, right? So the fact that he joked and now it's a fight, and I think that's where he should have dropped the lawsuit. Not even dropped the lawsuit. Just I don't know. I feel like they should have had a collab of some sort of relation. Yes, Janassi was trying at his best to, make this better, to make, make men's with another, the, with, what's his name? Yeah,
Let me see.
Lebo,
Lebo, yeah.
Lebo M. I think, yeah, I think Lebo M is taken a little far. $27 million. This guy is a stand-up comedian. A lot of comedians do not make a lot of money. I'm just saying. I don't know. It's a little far. It's a little far on that end. The fact that he was trying to make it up, make amends, and Leo M's just like, nah, I'm not dealing with this. Like, that's not. I don't think that's courteous humans, like in general. Like, Janassi was trying to make it up. Like, hey, I'm sorry, I made up a funny tidbit. I'm sorry. He was trying to make his way of an apology, and totally got turned down for it. So,
yeah, he took it. Yeah, I think this just got way overblown and became way too public. And I can understand the criticism in both ways. But once again, we're losing the kind of what we were talking last week, the sense of a joke. Like, I'm not going to spout that comedy is dead. I'm not a comedian. I'm not the funniest person in the room. I can make a couple quips here and there. But at the end of the day, when a joke is made and it's not malicious, what's the problem there, right? I think that's what I think that's why I'm finding an issue with this story. That we heard the initial clip that was said on the podcast. It was a funny joking clip between the host and the guest. It was goofy. If he was on our show, if he said that to us, we would have laughed. If that's what we learned, like, oh, if that's what really it means, we would have took it at face value. And I'm like, is that really what it means? I'm like, yeah. And he would have just joked, and we're like, we would believe him, And then Lebo just trying to kind of counteract that. I think if it would have just been left as a joke, I think it would have been a bleeding.
It would have been a 5-second clip. It would have been a 5-second clip, and it would have faded quicker than anything.
Yeah.
But the fact Lebo made it real emphasizing, I think that exaggeration is drawing it out. That's, I don't know.
What?
That's how I feel about it too.
All right, you want to finish up the article?
There is no, there is other, oh man. This is also another layer here. It's probably the most interesting one. Janassi's original comments were not made in a vacuum. According to the reporting, the Lion King chant came while he was criticizing the way American pop culture often packages African for non-African audiences. He mocked the fact that lions in the Lion King had American accents, took aim at the simplistic portrayals of the continent, and folded the chant into a broader critique of how Africa is translated, marketed, and softened for Western entertainment. That does not automatically make his jokes fair, but does make the stories bigger than whether one line was translated correctly. It also is about who gets to interpret African culture in public, who profits from the interpretation, and what happens when a comedian uses mockery to challenge a piece of iconic global media that has already turned African language and imagery into a mass market entertainment. In a strange way, both men are arguing about cultural meaning, just from the opposite directions. Lebo M says the joke stripped the sacred and ceremonial language of its dignity. Janassi suggests the conversation exposed to how much lost when African identity is packaged for outsiders in the first place. At the latest reporting, the case has not reached a ruling, a verdict, or a settlement. What had happened that was this: a civil lawsuit was filed in Los Angeles. Damages was demanded, and the dispute spilled into public posts and videos. Genasi was served on stage, and then the temperature appeared to drop slightly when Lebo's M seemed signal a willingness to explore what the Los Angeles Times described as a structured settlement. That does not mean the case is over. It means the fight may be shifting from public sparring towards negotiation. What makes the strongest ways to understand this story? On the surface, it is bizarre and almost funny. A comedian gets sued for millions over a Lion King joke and served papers in the middle of a set. But underneath what is most very modern collision of art, identity, and reality and law. A lyric became a meme. A meme becomes a grievance. A grievance becomes a lawsuit. And suddenly, a chant that's once introduced as Disney movie is being argued over cultural property, insult, satire, and money, all at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. This article kind of puts it right. It shows they're all fighting for. It seems like similar reasons, but different points, and that's kind of how opinions work, right? No one had. It's hard to get two people in a room to discuss and agree on a certain topic, mostly these days. And it seems like as we read the article a little earlier, it sounds like they were in talks, but those talks fell, and then it escalated. And like, yeah, I'm not gonna say that. Like, Disney has done slightly better in these last couple years than the originals films and how they portray different. If anyone's seen some of the old Disney films, they did not do a good way in cultural appropriations. Okay.
Oh no, absolutely not.
Yeah, if you look some up, man, they are pretty spicy. They are pretty spicy, and they've worked on trying to clean up their act, quote unquote. But this one just a little bit been memed on and escalated to far worse than it should be. And it's early, right? It's early. Just the serve just happened just a little bit ago. And like, what are your thoughts, kind of just as this is going to be something that's going to be progressing for a bit, Liz?
I think it's, that song. I love that movie. That was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. I think me and my brother watched it probably 500,000 times. Probably an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Saying we enjoyed the movie. That was one of our favorite movies. Yes, it should have been more culturally appropriate, but at the time we were kids. We didn't understand what that meant, But it was great. We all knew this, I have a couple of my favorite songs from there. I Can't Wait to Be King was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the other songs in there.
Yeah, and then
Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, exactly. Hakuna Matata. That was another one. I love that one. That's one of my favorites. I think it brings Lion King back to the forefront of the picture. But again, I think these two I feel like immature children. I stand for Pride, and the other one just did a joke, and it just took way too far out of context at this point. Again, if he had ignored it, it would have been a 5-second meme, walked away. Nothing would have really transpired. But now it's escalated to a full-on everyday meme kind of thing.
And I'm gonna take a little bit of a stance. I think it's more of an adult fighting with the kid. Like, a kid made a joke, and the adult's upset about it.
This is true.
That's my thought process.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that too. It's funny, but again, it's just people having fun, and somebody's taking the fun way too serious for the act. But yeah, I don't know. Well, I wish they could figure this out. This is not like it's not like a. I don't know.
End all be all.
It should. Yeah, it should have been all be all kind of thing. 27 million's a little exaggerated, and
That's Disney for you, though. That's Disney for you.
It's Lebo, and Lebo's taking it, hard, no harder because he's now getting royalty stripped. So yeah, but Disney needs to do their research too, and not just side on somebody who just made a funny joke too.
Well, no. The second you try to mess with Disney lawyers, you're fucked. No.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So this may be this may end up in court, or it may end in settlement, or it may end the way the internet-fueled dispute do, with everyone claiming some version of victory and the public moving on. But the question underneath is not going anywhere. When a joke goes viral, who gets to decide whether it's just comedy or whether it's crossed into the realm of harm? All right, I'll jump into this next story. This story seems a little outrageous. Did you hear anything about this at all?
No.
Right. So, some stories stop people cold, not just because of what happened, but because of who it is accused of doing. This is one of those stories. Dayton Weber, who's become known to many people as a remarkable athlete, he was a professional cornhole player. I didn't know you could do that. But also a quadriplegic amputee who had built a reputation around persistence, adaptation, and doing things people did not expect him to do. But in March of But not in March of 2026, the public image collided head-on with the horrifying accusation that Weber shot and killed 27-year-old Bradrick Michaels Wells. I think that's how you pronounce it. Bradrick Michaels Wells during what authorities say began as an argument inside a vehicle in southern Maryland. According to the reporting across these sources, the shooting happened late at the night of Sunday, March 2022, near El Plata Road and Radio Station Road in La Plata, Maryland. I think I said that right. Authorities say Weber was driving, Wells was in the front passenger seat, and the two others were riding in the back. Investigators allege that during the dispute, Weber shot Wells inside the vehicle. Some reports describe Wells as being shot twice in the head, while others describe the shooting more generally, so that specific detail is not presented identical in every source. What is consistent is the central allegation: Wells was fatally shot while inside the car. And that is where the case becomes even more disturbing. Investigators say that after the shooting, Weber allegedly asked the two passengers in the back seat to help remove Wells' body from the vehicle. The passengers allegedly refused, got out of the seat, and fled. Authorities say Webb then drove away with Wells still in the car. Nearly 2 hours later, a resident of Newport Church Road in Charlotte's Hall called police after finding a body in the yard nearby. When deputies arrived, they identified the victim as Bradrick Michael Wells, who was pronounced dead at the scene. Wells' death quickly became more than just a breaking crime story. The coverage described as a motocross rider, and one source notes that he had recently become a father of a baby girl. That detail matters because it shifts the story well away from spectacle and back towards the human loss of a center of it. Behind the headlines, this is about a 27-year-old man whose life ended violently, and now a family is dealing with the aftermath. Police soon began looking for Weber and his vehicle. Reports say authorities tracked the vehicle in Charlottesville, Virginia, and found Weber at a nearby hospital where he had reportedly gone for treatment relating to unspecific medical issues. After he released from the hospital, he was taken into custody by Virginia officers. At that stage, he was initially held as a fugitive from justice, while Maryland authorities moved to bring him back across state lines. That brings us to the important legal distinction. At this point in the story, these are criminal charges and allegations, not convictions. Weber has been accused by law enforcement, but he has not been found guilty in court. The matter, especially in the case that drew intense public fascination, almost immediately, the report saying he expected to face first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and other related charges. Other sources also reported assault and use of firearms in the commissions of a felony. In other words, the state appears to be treating this as an intentional killing case with multiple counts that could reflect different legal theories prosecutors may pursue. For listeners who do not live in legal language every day, here is a simple version. A criminal charge is an accusation brought by the state. It is not the same as civil lawsuits, which is what when a private parties are sued for money or other remedies, kind of like what we were just talking about the Lion King stuff. And it is not the same thing as a verdict, which only comes after the court proceedings. Right now, what exists is our allegations from investigators, formal charges expected in Maryland, and the early steps of criminal prosecution. So yeah, what is your thoughts on all this?
I did hear about this quadriplegic.
Yeah,
amputee. He's not quadriplegic. He's quadro. It's quad amputee. He's got 4 limbs gone, and he's able to shoot.
Yeah,
I've
this is
seen
what
the videos.
That's why why this star is wild, because it's him, how do you pronounce it again?
A quadruple
amputee who shot and drove away, or killed a man and drove away. I can see how that news story can get wild, because that, like, people
Absolutely.
are like, it's wild.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out. I'm like, how did he drive a vehicle that's not modified for him? Right? He has no legs to hit the pedals. I don't know if he got on the body and moved the body. I couldn't tell you.
There's so much.
I'm just saying that my brain is like trying to figure this out. How did he drive a car that's not modified for him?
No, he was driving. I think he was
he was driving? I thought he was.
Wait, wasn't he? Let me look at the article again.
I thought.
It said reports say coverage. No, what was it? I thought he said no. According to reports, Wells was in
the passenger in the front seat. Okay.
Yeah, so he was driving. Okay. This was his vehicle.
I got myself confused. Okay, so it was his vehicle. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so you know how he got away. It was a vehicle designed for a quadriplegic.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I was lost for a second. I was like, wait a minute. But still, I mean,
it's wild. It's a wild story. It's a wild story.
Why would he go? Yeah, it is a wild story. It is very confusing. It's very.
Yeah, if you just read a headline, if you read it like that,
you would think it was just a regular murder. You wouldn't know this is a quadruple.
No. The way I've seen multiple articles, it's like quadriplegic, killed in
quadruple amputee.
Yeah, like killed a man, shot a man dead, and drove away. A lot of the articles I read, those were the headlines, and that's for clicks. I'm not gonna lie, it's clickbait, but it's puzzling, right? But yeah,
why would he kill somebody who just became a dad? Why did the argument have to escalate him to shooting the guy? My thoughts are like everywhere. Why? There's no answers right now. It sounds like
it just happened.
Of allegations and
it just it just happened a few days ago. So
yeah, it just happened, and my brain's like, why? What was the dispute about that it had to be drawn to gunfire? What made this amputee decide I'm gonna kill this guy? Why? Like, my brain is like, you're doing well for yourself. Obviously, you made things that you're a quadruple amputee, but you made it happen. You made it work. You showed off like, hey, I can do this.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind in a lot of ways. So
I don't know. Yeah, maybe we'll get more info. How about we continue reading the article?
Part of why this case exploded so quickly in public conversation is that Dayton Whitburn was not unknown for. Far from it. Multiple sources frame him as someone who has been long covered as an inspirational figure. Weber lost all 4 limbs as an infant after severe bacterial infection. According to prior profiles preferred in the reporting, he later became active in sports, including wrestling and cornhole, and rose high enough in the sport to compete professionally. One report described him as the first quadruple amputee in the history of the American Cornhole League. Another noted that his story has previously been featured by outlets by ESPN and the Washington Post. The public history has shaped the reaction. The Guardian article centers on Mike Hoffman, a former doubles partner of Weber, says he's been shocked by the accusations. He described the case as something tearing apart at least two families at once. He also said that if the allegations are true, Weber made a terrible decisions.
True.
The reaction I know, right? The reaction captures the tension surrounding the story, the collision between public image built around perseverance and a criminal case centered on deadly violence. The attention also widened because of the unusual details surrounding Weber's physical abilities. Coverage highlighted how he drove using modified controls and how video circulated showing him handling and firing guns despite being a quadruple amputee. One New York Post report said that the police had to adapt routine booking procedures because of his amputations, including using the ends of his arms in place of fingerprints. The detail is not essential to whether he committed the crime, but also became part of the fascination surrounding the rest.
No fingerprints in the gun.
But skin cells have, fingerprints.
Yeah.
But I mean,
joke, Liz. Low jokes. Our joke not any good anymore. Are you gonna sue me for 20 million?
Nope. Apparently not. We're gonna get sued.
All right, continue.
Still, the most grounded reporting resists turning into the case into curiosity story. Even Hoffman, while speaking sympathetically about Weber's family, emphasized how that someone died, that some people should be respectful of the victim. That's probably the right lens. Because, however, much attention this case draws to who Weber is. The core of it, simple engram. A young man is dead. Investigators say it's happened after an argument in a car, and another young man now faces the possibility of spending the rest of his life if convicted. As for where the case stands now, People reports that Weber waived his right to extradition in hearing in Virginia on March 26 and agreed to be sent back to Maryland. He reportedly told the court he was trying to return to Maryland, and the outlet said his next hearing was scheduled for April 10th. That means the story is no longer just about the arrest, it's moving into the next phase, where prosecutors, defense counsel, and the court system will begin defining what facts can be proven, actually be proven.
Ooh, wow, this is moving fast, actually, compared to some other stories we've... There's been a lot of stories that it takes this is going to be probably in a couple months or a couple weeks, but yeah, this
years, yeah.
But yeah, this
is crazy. It's moving pretty fast. But the fact that he waived it and he's like, "Yeah, I was on my way to back." Like, really?
Well, it did allegedly said he was at a hospital for some issues and maybe some mental issues. We can only speculate. You just never know what's going. At that point, if it seems like they were all friends in the car, right? Because why would you be in a vehicle with? At that point, you just killed your friend, got rid of a body, drove for days, probably. You're not in the right mindset.
Hours. It sounds like it was only a couple hours. So.
Oh, a couple hours. Oh, yeah. But either way, you're not in the right mindset after all that. And I can only imagine being the guys in the back. That's
I'm rolling. I'm hightailing out of there. I don't want to even do nothing with this shit. I'll go get a Lyft or an Uber to get home. I ain't not doing this shit. If I was in the country, I'd be like, yeah, I'm rolling. Bye, peace. I'm not helping getting rid of a body. I'm not involved. I'm not involved.
It's wild. But yeah, at the end of the day, this article is right. A individual has passed away, a father, a son, a husband has passed.
I don't know what the situation is on that one, but I mean, nonetheless,
either way, yeah, we're joking and we're but yeah, sadly, someone passed away or was murdered. I'm gonna say he was murdered, in my opinion. For whatever reason, we will not know. Maybe if we get more, we'll find out a little bit more. We'll probably do a little pickup if they make it more public. But it is a wild story. There's a lot to it. We're joking about it, but yeah, it is something that happened. And it's another viral thing, and it's it went viral because of the absurdity of what it was. But I think it's one of those things where, you know, we might learn something, but it sucks. It sucks. I'll read the last bit of this. And they may be the hardest part of this case sits with. It's dramatic, yes. It is unusual, yes. But underneath it all, it's also a familiar American tragedy. A late night argument, a gun, a dead 27-year-old, shattered families, a criminal process now takes tasks with sorting the accusations from proof. The details made if this story spread, the outcomes eventually will depend on what can be established in court, and until then the distinctions between what is alleged and what is proven is not just legal language, it's the line that matters most. So yeah, that's kind of what if we would have read a little bit more. But yeah, it's just basically a waiting game for everyone in this matter, and kind of for us a little bit to maybe get a little idea. But yeah, everything's just because the only thing you can really say is like get the what's the word? Get the testimonies of the two people in the truck. The testimony from Webb. What was the name? Weber. Get his testimony. Get the two guys' testimony. Get the testimony of probably the two hospital people who had him checked in for that moment. Maybe they noticed something when he got checked in.
It's HIPAA though, so I don't know. They can't dispose much of anything unless he gives the written consent to do that. So there's that.
True.
So they can only.
Oh yeah, you would know. You would know a little bit
there.
more on that end, but
yeah, they can't release HIPAA unless there's like a subpoena as to why he was in there. But I highly doubt they're gonna go through that.
In a different state. In a different state too.
In a different state, in a legal battle, it's not gonna be worth it. They just have to assume that it's unrelated to whatever. Or it is related, and they can only speculate, right? So, I honestly, it's gonna be a trial that's gonna have. I don't even know. This is gonna be crazy. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of probably going back to text messages, phone calls, and whatnot, and figuring out and building a story as to why, unless he confesses and says, "Hey, I did it."
Yeah. True. We won't know until later, and it's still going to be a spectacle because of the absurdity of what happened, right? It's a quadriplegic who...
Quadruple amputee, not quadriplegic.
I'm sorry.
Quadriplegic means like they can't move from their neck down, Betty.
My apologies. Anyone who's... I keep messing it up. Liz will correct me every time.
Yes, I will. I put him in his place.
All right, Liz, you can get us out of this one then.
This is the case that drew headlines because of the shocking contrast, but the court process is only beginning. As more facts emerge through hearings, filings, and the story may become more clearer. For now, what we have is deeply unsettling allegation of a victim whose death has left real people grieving, and a defendant whose life story has now taken a very dark turn.
Now, Liz, have you kept up with any pop culture news?
I might have seen this briefly on a storyline, but I didn't click on it because it's Chappell Roan. I don't know.
Do you know who Chappell Roan is?
Yeah, I know a little bit of her songs. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a little bit of her and probably one or two songs.
She came off of YouTube and she became popular. That's, I think, if I recall right.
Yeah, she's definitely she's probably her music is not my demographic. I'll be honest.
Yeah. It's not. I've heard of music though. Like I've been exposed obviously to it.
But yeah,
So.
But apparently there's a lot of backlash. You wanna start this one?
Yeah. Started with a child recognizing a pop star at breakfast. Then became an Instagram post, an apology, a furious online reaction, and a final much bigger argument about celebrity, fandom, and what people in the spotlight actually owe the strangers who adore them. This story centers at Chappell Roan, the singer whose rise has become the both intense admiration and very public conversation about boundaries. And in late March 2026, while she was in Sao Paulo, Brazil, that tension exploded into a controversy involving football Georgino and his wife Catherine Harding, and then Harding's 11-year-old daughter Ada, Ada, I don't know how to pronounce it, who's also Jude Law's daughter. That's basically sequence is a clear across the reporting, even if some details are disputed. They were staying at the same hotel as Roan. Ada recognized her at breakfast, and afterward, a man described as a security approached the family in a way that would left the child upset and in tears. According to Gino's account, his stepdaughter did not walk up to Chappell Roan. She did not ask for a photo and did not try to interrupt her meal. He said he simply passed by, looked to see if it was really her, smiled, and returned to her table. He then allegedly that the security guard approaching Kathleen Harding in an extreme aggressive manner accused them of disrespecting or harassing the singer, and even threatened to complain to the hotel. Gino said the experience left the girl badly shaken and crying. That was the allegation that was sent a story across the racing the social media. And the distinction matters because this stage, the heart of the story is not a legal dispute with formal charges or rulings. It's a public controversy built around competing accounts of what happened in a hotel. There's allegation from Georgina and his family of how the encounter unfolded. There's a Chappell Roan's public response, and later there's a statement from the man identified as the security guard. But there's no court verdict here, no lawsuit in the reporting you shared, and no official finding settling the matter. This is a reputational and a cultural conflict, not a criminal or civil case. Roan responded quickly. In an Instagram video, she says she wanted to tell my half of the story. Her version was direct. She says she did not see a woman and a child, that no one approached her, and that she did not ask anyone to go speak to them. More than that, she said the man involved was not part of her personal security team. He also made it clear that she did not agree with the way the situation was handled, saying it was unfair for security to assume bad intentions when in her telling, no action had been taken, and she apologized to the mother and child, saying the child did not deserve to feel uncomfortable. That response did two things at once. First, it distanced Roan from the encounter itself. She said she did not direct it, did not witness it, and did not approve of it. Second, it tried to separate her already well-known stance about personal boundaries from the specific situation. Roan has previously been outspoken about what she sees as creepy, invasive, or entitled behavior from fans and the paparazzi. But in this case, she drew a line between harassment and what described as people who are simply doing nothing wrong.
So, okay. So, what are your thoughts on this story? But yeah, there's multiple sides. We can only get what people are saying, because the initial allegations of this is that the daughter Ada noticed the pop star, didn't interact with her, just noticed, walked by her table, and just to see if that's who it was. And like once they confirmed it, they walked away. They didn't like stare at them. They just walked past, like, oh, and then just went back and probably told her parents, like, oh my God, it's her, you know. And then
yeah.
And you know,
I feel like it's very simple, very innocent. I mean, that's great. She didn't interact with the person. She just walked by just to verify. I would have done the same thing. Be like, is that who I think it is? Yep. Okay, cool. Bye. Walk away. You know, I've done that a handful of times where people like in a random place and be like, is that who I think it is? Oh yeah, it is. Walk away. Bye.
Or it's like, oh no, it's not. I'm like, okay, just keep walking. But then to get to the escalation where you're making an 8-year-old child cry.
11-year-old.
11-year-old, still a kid, making a kid cry.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't. It was not appropriate.
It leaves a bad taste in the mouth, right?
Yeah, it does. And this kid was doing nothing harmless. It wasn't like she was interacting. She just walked. It was nothing wrong with walking by somebody. She didn't like on a table. She didn't, that kind of stuff. Like, she didn't like do anything disruptive. She was just simply walking by, confirming, and walking away, and smiled. She can smile. Hey, anybody can smile. Hey, I know that person.
Like, kids are. Right? She was just happy. A simple smile. Like, yeah, she did not do anything to
Sometimes
this.
it's just a highlight of just, like a kid's life, I walked by them, I was in the same room as them, that kind of like little girly, like, I bet I was in the same room as them. I had breakfast with them in a way.
Yeah,
We all come with those imagination stories, right?
exactly. And I could see it from Chappell Roan's standpoint. She has made it clear that she has set boundaries. I think we talked a little bit about it a couple year or two ago, maybe.
Maybe.
But yeah, like she's just, we won't deny, we won't deny that the level of fandom and what's the best way to put it? Standism, I wouldn't want to say, has gone a bit too far when it comes to fans and their celebrities.
Yeah,
I won't deny that.
some of the fandom is a little crazy out there. I'm not gonna lie about that. But yeah, I got she, made her point about boundaries, and she made it like, hey, this is my personal boundary. You disrespect it, that's your own damn fault. But
There's there's still a limit.
But I mean, there is a limit, yes, but it wasn't like she made anybody do that act against that little girl, if that is the case.
And that's what she's in. She's trying to persuade. I kind of peeked a little bit in the next article. It sounds like maybe people aren't believing that the security guard was believing or not. So well, let me keep reading. But right now, I'm like, It's not looking good. Then the story shifted again. A few days later, the security guard at the center of the controversy, identified in later coverage as Pascal Duvert, issued his own statement. He said that he was not part of Chappell Roan's personal security and that he has been at the hotel on behalf of someone else. He also said that he took full responsibility for the interaction on March 21st and insisted his actions were not on behalf of Roan and her management or her team. And this was significant development because it backed up one of Roan's central claims, that the man who confronted the family was not acting as her personal guard. But even that did not fully settle the dispute. Catherine Harding responded publicly too, saying that she did not expect the situation to spiral so far. She said the man was definitely not a hotel security and maintained that from her perspective, he was with Roan. Harding also suggested that if Roan truly had not sent him, then he had badly overstepped. One report detailed from Harding's response, especially striking. She said that the guard told her that her daughter was badly educated. Ooh. Even after Duvert accepted responsibility, this disagreement over his connection to Roan did not entirely disappear. That left the public with a story that was no longer just about who said what in the hotel dining area. It became a referendum of a celebrity behavior, fan entitlement, and basically basic decency. Some backlash landed directly on Roan, even though she denied involvement. The Guardian reported that Roan de Janeiro Vice Mayor Eduardo Calverier publicly said that she was not welcome at the city's annual Todo Mundo de Norio festival. Ooh, wow, that's strong. The city whether the reaction was far too or optimized is a separate question, but it shows how quickly internet outrage can leap from one alleged moment into border public punishment. This is where the opinion piece from The Guardian adds something useful. It steps back from who sent whom arguments and asks a harder, messier question. What do celebrities owe their fans? The piece argues that the modern fame creates a warped sense of intimacy. Fans can feel close to stars they have never met. Sometimes that becomes harmless excitement. Sometimes it turns into obsessions, harassment, stalking, and other sense of ownerships over public figures. Roan herself has been one of the more visible artists pushing back on this dynamic, but the column also makes the other side of the argument plain. It's a child cannot smile at an artist in a passing without becoming frightened by security, then something about celebrity culture has gone badly wrong. This is probably why this story is hit such a nerve. It's not just about one breakfast encounter, it's about the clash between two truths people do not know how to hold at the same time. One truth is that celebrities deserve boundaries, privacy, and safety, and the other is that fans, especially children, deserve some basic kindness and should not be treated like threats for ordinary human excitement. The Guardian argues that that it's not the stars owe not the wait the Guardian argument is not that stars owe endless access or constant smiles or emotional labor on demand. It is that they still owe what anyone owes in public life: common sense, decency, and little grace when possible. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pause. So yeah, this section of the article pretty much kind of talks about what we just talked about, right? There's a level. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Celebrities don't technically like don't what's the word they don't have to.
They don't owe anybody anything, but they do. I believe they should be a human, a decent human.
Like what this article said, yeah. Like the only thing they should owe the people is the work they're providing. If they are producing music, they should provide good music. If they are actors or actresses, they should be providing good performances, right? I think that's the only thing they should be providing. Any celebrity should be providing just their works to the best of their abilities, right? They shouldn't really be hassled. I think at the end of the day, just common decency is what's needed here. More so when it becomes to younger and especially children, right? Because yeah, I'm not gonna lie, we talked about there's different classes of celebrityism, right? There's a celebrities, your Hollywood, your like all like these movie stars and everything, right? Then you kind of got your internet celebrities that some people, millions of people know, but maybe you and I don't know. And we've talked about some internet celebrities, and you see thousands. Like we've talked about some of the things they have to deal with, right? We've talked multiple stories about stalking stuff because of how bad the fandom is in certain areas, right? So it's one of those things. Like it can get wild. I can understand why boundaries should be set. Like you and I technically are not even in the scope of celebrityism, but we are, as far as the show is concerned, we are public figures spouting our own things. And if someone randomly recognized us and said hello, I'm like, what's the worst we're gonna say? We're just gonna say hi back. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's all I'm going to say to them. Of course, I tune out everybody around me sometimes. My brain, it's not anything, but it's not you guys' fault. It's me.
Yeah. The most we are going to provide. No, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, good. Yeah, like you said, with the most we can provide. I don't care if I have to sign a sweatshirt. I don't care. I don't care. This stuff is just like it's cool, Somebody recognizes it, cool, and it doesn't. Nah. Most of the people who listen to us are people I know, so most of them, not everybody, but I mean, it'd be cool, to meet like a fan,
a random one, yeah, just the one up. Oh, yeah, but we've been getting a little bit bigger, as you and I both know, and we appreciate everyone who's been sharing and listening to or watching us, expanding our goofiness, our ridiculous. It's just hearing all these random stories, but at the end of the day, yeah, you just never know, Some people are weird out there, but we won't deny. But unless you become very obsessive, then boundaries have to be set. Boundaries have
a lawyer on speed dial.
But yeah, boundaries need to be set, but not to excessive levels, right? Do you want to finish up reading then?
So where does that leave the story now? After the later reporting, we know the timeline looks like this. The incident happened at a hotel in the Sao Paulo around March 21st, and just before Roan's Lollapalooza Brazil appearance. Regina publicly accused a security guard of aggressively confronting his wife and stepdaughter. Roan responded the next day, denied sending anyone, and apologized to the family. Then Pascal Duvier later said he acted on his own and took responsibility. What remains unresolved is not the sequence, but the interpretation. Was this a freelance overreaction or by a man who was not working for Roan? Was it a case of muddled appearance and misplaced assumptions? Or does the family's version of still point to a larger failure in how celebrity spaces are managed? The sources do not fully close the gap. So the version is say that some facts are established, some perceptions remain in conflict. It's clear as why the story lingered. It's never only gossip; it became a miniature cultural war between about fame itself, about whether public figures are allowed to say no, and whether fans have mistaken access of intimacy, and whether a child's harmless excitement should ever get caught in that machinery. In the end, that was not a legal reckoning. It was a moral and cultural one. And maybe that's why it felt so volatile, because underneath all the names and headlines are simple was a simple question people are still not do not agree on. How much warmth, patience, and humanity can be a public reasonable expect, except for the people it turns into stars.
Yeah, that's true. Like I said, we can only fathom how what they have to deal with, right? Like we are pretty private for the most part, besides this show and everything, and whatever we spew. But people barely know us, and so we don't know the level of attention. I'll say that they get. Like they are always under a microscope, right? Be it the public, paparazzi, peers, management. Someone's always on them, and I can understand the level of stress that comes with it, right? But like how this article and you said, it's like there's still a level of common decency people should be able to, more so when it comes to like, because at the end of the day, the perception could have been something simple. The kid saw their favorite star, walked by, got excited, and then as they were finishing up or in the middle of their lunch or breakfast, they see a guy coming, and maybe it could have been something like wonderful, like, oh my god, chaperone noticed the little girl, and they would have taken away for a little like hello or an autograph, and that would have made their day, like made her day ecstatic. But it turned into this like hurricane of a mess for everyone involved, because at the end of the day, it's perception, right? Kind of what we were talking about the last story. It's because we don't know exactly, we weren't there. You can only perceive what these articles say and what each person said, because yeah, we can and we can only believe what we think, right? Do we believe that this person was not part of the thing? We can only believe what they're saying. Sometimes you want to do, you could say like they're just trying to do some collateral damage by like just throwing this guy under the bus. Like, yeah, just say you weren't part of the team, right? Like, yeah, take all the fault and save.
I'll give you $1,000 for it, or something, whatever. I don't know. I think it's just a little. And it could have been another star in the room. We don't even know. There could have been another person in the room. And that misinterpretation of that person, that little girl walking by and smiling. I don't know. I just think there could have been a third party in there. We're not knowing of that third party because if Duvier supposedly was somebody else and it was a security guard, he could have reacted to that situation too. So
I have a question for you specifically. Then, how would you react it if it was you and your kid, and there was your kid's favorite star, or what of celebrity, and that happened to you in that situation? How would you feel? How would you react it? How like yeah?
I think I would have been angry. I wouldn't have stopped that moment. I would stop what I'd be like, my kid walked by. It wasn't harassing. It wasn't anything. It was a simple. I'm gonna check this out. Make sure who I'm looking at is correct, and then walk away. And if they smile, that's just a highlight of my day. We all make these fantasies. Oh, like, oh, I've been out sitting near, I was in the same room having breakfast with that somebody, in that room, in that space and time. How cool is that? I think we forget that we're human and we all like to be kind of ecstatic too about, oh, we're in the same room with so and so, I've met stars over my lifetime. Do I care like I brag about it? No, I'm like, cool, it was a highlight of my life, a little spark of memory, a happy memory. You know, I
And if
it's just like when I tell people like Babe Ruth and O.J. Simpson, and there's so many connections to my father in that, and then my family in that way. So like, This is like that. I can say that. Oh yeah, my grandfather struck out Babe Ruth in the minor leagues. My dad went to school with O.J. Simpson, even though my dad was a couple years older than him. It was just like I can say those things. We all can be in a room with somebody and not have like a huge fiasco about it, but a story to tell people later on in life. Hey, it's just like that thing. But we all have to appreciate the little things when we do get to have those like little cool memory. Like, oh yeah, I was in the same hotel as her. We had breakfast in the same room that day. Because not everybody's breakfast is going to be the same time, right? so, and the fact that Chappell Roan was in a public space and could have had breakfast up in their room, like, and once you leave your space, that makes, and you're in a public space, you have to allow it for everybody. I mean, I bet same thing for Georgina and Ada and, they're all part of, and Jude Law. We all know Jude Law, right? So, I think we have to allow children to have a little bit of excitement, even if it's just a smile. Just allow it. And I would be upset, honestly, I'd be back by, I'd be like, what? My kid walked. Wow. Went to go got another plate of fruit. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry.
No,
Just
yeah.
double checking to make sure.
And then being like told that your child uneducated.
Right. I mean, I bet that kid is very well educated, considering that, who her family is. My dad's an actor. My stepfather is a soccer player. Like, come on.
Yeah. So this story may fade into the headlines, but the questions behind it probably will not. The more fame gets flattened into constant access, the more these collisions are going to happen. And every time they do, we end up back at the same place, trying to decide whether boundaries end and where basic decency begins. Who is responsible when those lines get crossed?
So that's where we end in today's episode, with a few stories that started off strange, got messier, the deeper we went, and turned into exactly the kind of conversation this show is about for.
If you're rocking with the show, make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow and share on Spotify and all other podcast platforms, and keep putting people onto the podcast through word of mouth. That kind of support helps us more than anything. So until next time, bye.
Yo, going with KB, surge to a level of the block in the 95. Where the night going, we going, we out going, we go. Yo, we got bees in the street, sleepers on the block, this is jail, TCP, live talking cover. Cool block, the command with the mic and a bulletproof vest, reporting live from a scene that's a hot mess.